so I should probably get it out of my bag for the purpose of this video. Nikon D7200. So I'm down in my local woodland today, and I was going to do a bit of photography with this camera, but the conditions are a bit rubbish, and yeah, it's a bit flat. I'm not really feeling it, so I thought I'd make this video. I've wanted to do this for a while. I'm pretty passionate about this wonderful camera. I've had it for about 2.5 years now. And yeah, I just want to share 5 reasons why I think the Nikon D7200 is still worth buying in 2020. So welcome to the channel, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and yeah, I absolutely adore this camera. I could definitely come up with a hell of a lot more reasons as to why that I love it. If you don't know who I am, my name is Henry Turner. I am a full-time landscape photographer, and I've actually always shot with Nikon as a stills camera anyway. And yeah, there's a few reasons as to why that is, but I'll get into that in this video. So let's get straight into it. Reason number 1 why you should consider buying the Nikon D7200 in 2020 is the image quality. For a crop sensor camera, this is quality. A lot of people say this is Nikon's best crop sensor camera in general. I couldn't disagree. The image quality is absolutely top draw, and it's definitely not something that's ever bothered me at all. I think it's brilliant. You know, don't get me wrong, there's definitely cameras out there that have got a better image quality, you know, higher megapixels, larger sensors, whatever. You need to figure out what the purpose is of your own photography. For me, the biggest prints that I make are size A2. This is more than adequate. You know, for example, if you're only putting your photographs on Instagram, Jesus, just shoot on your phone. You don't even need this. So it's quite a personal thing, but for me, the image quality is absolutely fantastic. On top of that, the dynamic range is awesome. I thought those two could kind of go together, but brilliant dynamic range. You know, as a landscape photographer, I'm often trying to deal with, like, you know, difficult lighting conditions, shooting into the sun where it's super bright, but then dark shadows in the foreground. For the most part, the dynamic range on this is quality, and it very rarely lets me down unless I am pretty much shooting into the sun. So if that's something, you know, you're considering is important for you when you're buying a camera, definitely it's got a really good dynamic range and fantastic image quality. So the second thing that I absolutely love about this camera, especially being a landscape photographer, is that it's weather sealed. Now let me say one thing, if you're going to buy a camera that's weather sealed, and it's a feature that you want out of a camera, make sure that your lenses are as well. I used to shoot just with my kit lens, and it wasn't weather sealed. It never broke, but it's probably just not a good idea, you know. It's also worth bearing in mind as well that weather sealed doesn't mean that your camera's invincible. I'm just the type of photographer that I don't really baby my gear. I look after it and I respect it. But if Nikon are telling me that this camera's weather sealed, it's gonna go out in the rain and it's gonna go out in the snow. And take it from me, after 2.5 years of a lot of rain hitting this camera body, not one single little issue. In a more general sense as well, I think it's really tough. You'd probably expect that because it is fairly heavy and robust, but yeah, it's been dropped many a time, and again, I don't baby it, and it's absolutely fine. Even cosmetically it still looks mint, which just blows my mind, because yeah, I'm not the most gentle of landscape photographers, let's say. Weather sealed and tough, that's reason number 2. So the third reason, and this is something that I didn't even care about when I first got this camera, but now I would never have it any other way, and that is the dual SD card slots. I would never go back. I've had one of my primary SD cards fail on me when I was out on a shoot, and I had some really nice photographs, and the memory card broke. It went like corrupt. So I got home, and fortunately I had it you know, set up to back up every single photograph in RAW on the second memory card. Yeah, it only takes it to happen once. I would definitely have been the type of person, the type of photographer to say, I don't care, you know, if I lose the photographs, what of it? It's very unlikely that that's going to happen. After it happened once, I would never go back. I can't imagine how, say, like a wedding photographer, for example, shoots with only one card slot. Yeah, I would just never take the risk. And going forward, whenever I actually upgrade this beast, I will definitely be getting a camera that's got dual card slots. So that's reason number 3. So reason number 4, this one absolutely has to get a mention, is the price, the cost of the camera itself. Of course, you know, it's over 5 years old now. It's to be expected, and you know, this doesn't necessarily set it apart from any other older cameras, but it's just something that absolutely has to get mentioned. Brand new now, sorry, not brand new, used, you're probably looking at like between 400 and 500 quid after a quick eBay search that I just did earlier on. What a steal, honestly. Like, I've had this, like I've said, over 2.5 years now, and if I didn't think it was worth that money, I wouldn't have it. Like, I've been able to afford better cameras since I purchased this, and I've just never had a reason to upgrade this thing, right? And I honestly like believe, after somebody who's got, you know, a good amount of experience of using this camera, that is a very, very good price. If you can pick up a decent camera body used that hasn't got too high of a shutter count, that, you know, cosmetically looks good, if that means anything to you, take it from me, that's a really, really good price for an absolute peach of a camera. That kind of, I suppose, leads me on nicely to reason number 5, the final reason. If you take anything from this video, let it be this. But basically, like, it works for me. You know, this is a tool. It's just a camera, like, it's just a tool. It allows me to take photographs for the reasons that I want to take them, which is primarily for myself, to enjoy, to look at them, to edit them, but also to print, to sell to customers, to put in things like my ebook, calendars, that sort of merchandise, if you want to call it that, and then my portfolio on my website, where I want like fairly decent quality images, although they're not huge. I still want the image quality to look good, obviously. But yeah, in many ways this reason doesn't really have anything to do with the Nikon D7200, but it's just a tool. You know, find a camera that works for you. The first DSLR that I ever bought was a Nikon D3100, and it worked for me. I didn't know anything about cameras when I purchased it. I just loved it ergonomically. So to upgrade to this enthusiast range, as Nikon calls it, of the Nikon D7000 was a real natural progression for me, and I don't regret it one bit, but that's because it works for me. So my advice would be to anybody that's looking to buy a camera that maybe doesn't know very much, is maybe write down a list of 5, 6, 7 reasons in order of most important to least important, of reasons of things that you want out of a camera, and just make sure the one that you purchase meets, you know, as many of those factors as possible. You might have to make a couple of compromises. I don't think there's like the perfect camera out there for everyone, but that's pretty much all I did with this, and it works for me. And it's a tool. I am the photographer, you know. I've said this millions of times on this YouTube channel. It's me that creates the images. This just makes things a little bit easier along the way, a little bit more enjoyable, and it gives me the image quality that I want out of a camera. Overall, I love this camera. I love the Nikon D7200. It's an absolute beast, and even now, after 2.5 years, and after it's been out for over 5 years, I'm still keeping it. I'm not changing my camera because it's just mint. It does everything that I need it to, and more. So, with that being said, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've got any questions about the camera, feel free to comment below. And yeah, cheers for tuning in. Subscribe if you're new. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Out.